Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rebelwatch. I'm your host, Campbell Holmes. Alongside me, as always, sports reporter SAWYER, TAYE, COLEMAN, and Walker Farmer. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. We're going to be starting off the show like we have been the past couple weeks with March Madness. Finally have a winner, SAWYER, Walker. Me and Tay have apologizing to do. Florida took the championship against Houston. It was a great game, I thought, but I thought it was surprising that Florida won because Houston was dominating pretty much the entire game. And if I'm being completely honest, I think the whole reason why they lost was because of foul trouble. They had 19 fouls against them. Obviously, Florida got way more free throw chances than them. I think that's what lost the game for them. But nonetheless, the defense was amazing from both teams. 40 and 39 rebounds, 7 and 5 steals. Pretty much the stats are identical. It was just the fouls. So, obviously SEC, I'm glad Florida won, but I was surprised at first.
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree with that. That was Houston's game the whole time. I was going to talk about the tempo a little bit. We've seen throughout the tournament, Houston's been a slower, control the game kind of team, and Florida's just been running it. So it's interesting to see how those were going to kind of compare, and obviously we saw Houston take control early. We saw Tugler kind of take control early with some defensive plays, like you just said. And I was like, okay, I was kind of surprised because, again, we thought it was going to be Duke and Florida. And I was like, okay, now Houston's showing up again. Is it going to be Houston going for a run? But it was interesting to see how the speed kind of picked up as we reached almost the halftime, and Florida kind of got going. I want to mention Alex Condon down low. They definitely got him going early, which is a big amount to why Florida started getting momentum and picked that up. But I would say the tempo is definitely something that I was looking at, like, wow, this game pace is a lot different. But, yeah, shout out to Florida, though. They figured it out early.
Yeah, Florida proved that they were the best team in the country this year, and they helped prove, I think without a doubt now, everyone knows that the SEC was the best conference in college basketball this past season. But just super impressive with Florida's win, especially if you would have told me before the game that Walter Clayton wouldn't have scored any in the first half, only made 1 3, scored 11 points, and Houston held Florida to 65 points. And every single time Houston has held a team under 70 points this season, they have won. If you would have told me all that and that Florida was still going to win, I would have been so surprised. Just super impressive win for Florida, battling back once again. They've done it all tournament. Against Texas Tech, they were down 9 with about 2 minutes left. Came back against Auburn, down 8 at half. And then even in this game, they were down 12 points in the second half and still found a way to win. Just super impressive and resilient bunch that the Gators have over there. I feel like people just kind of hyped up Houston so much because of their defense, and they thought if they could shut down Walter Clayton Jr., that was their only hope of winning because they just seen how dominant he's been all tournament. And that wasn't the case. Houston honestly had a great game plan against Walter Clayton Jr., shut him down, but people just don't realize this is just a complete Florida team. Such a good backcourt, probably the best in the country with Elijah Martin, Will Richard, and Walter Clayton. And even their front court with Condon, Chinyalu, Hall, all super good players, and that honestly won them the game. They all played really well, especially, like you said, Condon. He played amazing, especially in the Final Four game against Auburn, only scored 1 point. So it was just a complete group effort, especially without Walter Clayton playing his best game. I do want to talk about, in particular, Will Richard. He had 18 points, his third year under Todd Golden. All 3 years he's been there. He was his first commitment out of the transfer portal. So just awesome to see a big game from him, having 18 points, 4 threes all in the first half. Really what Florida needed to kind of stay in the game early, only a 3-point game at half, and then they just finished in the end. Just a very impressive championship win for Florida.
Well, obviously, close game, but I just, obviously with Houston being up for so long, that last play where you can't even get a shot off is crazy. And if I was a Houston fan, I would not be happy. The fact that you go all the way down the court, you have, 16 seconds left. This is the last shot of the game. You're either losing or you're winning. And we can't even get a shot off. And, obviously his teammates aren't paying attention to him because they didn't understand that there was going to be a walking call. But it's just, I was like, man, to not even get a shot off, it's crazy.
Yeah, it sucks, and I'm with you in the fact of it stings a little bit more for Houston because this was essentially a home game for them. In San Antonio, the stadium is packed with Houston fans, so to have one slip away, to have the celebration and all the makings there, their head coach had to beg students to come to their games, 7, 8 years ago. So definitely one that slipped away for Houston for sure. But all in all, you have all the makings once again. You shut down Walter Clayton because he back-to-back 30-point games in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. So it's like you got to take advantage of that. I just think this one just slipped away. And I think it speaks more volume to just how good this Florida team is because, one, playing with your backs against the wall in a national championship game is one thing, but playing with your backs against the wall in a national championship game and you're essentially the away team, the team that you're playing against has the most fans in the crowd. I mean, I think it speaks volume to just how good, one, SEC basketball is this year, and two, how good this Florida team really was.
Yeah.
I was going to say Walker hit it right on the head with the depth of this team. I mean, Will Richard allowed the Walter Clayton to like not have the spotlight on him, if you will. Allowed him to get hot so Walter Clayton kind of settle in and get those points going in the second half. Like you mentioned, Campbell, the free throws, 17 of 21. Free throws aren't free points. I know that's not funny. But like, you can't have with 9 minutes left to go in the second half, getting them to the line every single time. You have to. That's a higher mountain to climb because they're gonna make a lot of those free throws. So it's automatically gonna keep scoring, and you have to go down and score every time. That puts so much more pressure on Houston there. And I think to your point, the free throws ended up sealing the deal for Florida.
Yeah, and I just also want to say, lastly, you have to feel for Kelvin Sampson, Houston's head coach. He's had a great career, one of the best coaches in all of college basketball, and to get that close and come up short like that, I mean, you saw his face at the end. He was just kind of shunned. He saw his dream just evaporate right in front of him.
when they show the players of the opposing team that lose. Like, it breaks my heart. Don't get me wrong. I wanted Florida to win, SEC, obviously. But seeing it, it's like, man, you know, you truly can never win as a fan that's not a fan of both.
Yeah, like even like Emmanuel Sharp, who shot that shot at the end, or didn't get a shot off at the end. Like you see Walter Clayton kind of consoling him at the end. I mean, that's awesome sportsmanship, but also in that moment, there's nothing really you can say to him. Just competing all season long and come up that short. And I mean, yeah, obviously I agree you have to get a shot off in that situation somehow, some way, but I thought it was an awesome kind of stamp on the game that Florida was able to win with great defense like that. They absolutely clamped them the whole possession when everyone was talking about Houston beforehand, and just a great way to finish the season for the Gators and be national champions. I had to say, I've seen everyone said it.
I will say though, the future for Houston is bright. You know, they got top 4, top 5 recruit Chris Senack from Link Academy, a guy that I've been watching. The truth, I'm telling y'all right now. And then they got Pop Isaacs in the portal just recently, a guy that we were trying to get at Ole Miss. So I'm not going to sit here and say they'll be back in the national championship game, but they will be competitive. And knowing their coach and knowing their stance and how they play, they'll be back. They'll be back.
For sure. Florida, Houston, 65-63. When we get back, we'll be talking about the NCAA women's tournament. They are the winner, UConn. We'll be back.
Where are we gonna go? Someplace warm. A place where the beer flows like wine. Where beautiful women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm talking about a little place called
Oxford, Mississippi. To see it is to believe it. You hear about it, but you just have to see the party.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grove.
The sound and fury are here. Let's go. Then he got a toe down. Pageantry, the pride, the pomp is unmatched and unrivaled. This stadium has come unhinged. This is what college football is all about. Oh, as he gets walloped. No coach is having more fun than Lane Kiffin. This is the place to be in college football right now.
Welcome back. Now, the women's team also has a winner, and it is UConn. UConn, South Carolina, absolutely dominated. And may I say, I was not expecting UConn to win. Not saying against South Carolina, but at all. In my bracket, I had them losing in an Elite Eight. So they absolutely dominated. Sarah Strong, 24 points and 15 rebounds. No offense to her, haven't really even had her on my radar. So that was awesome to see that. They just dominated. I mean, 48.4 from the field. They only had 4 3-pointers, but they collected 26 defensive rebounds to also keep it 82-59. It was crazy. They absolutely dominated. How are y'all feeling about the game?
I feel good. I really can appreciate this win. I respect winning to a T, but, man, Dawn Staley and South Carolina are always on top of women's basketball. So to see them kind of get upset and kind of get blown out how they did was definitely weird but good. Paige and the Big Three really dominated in this game, and I can commend her as well because, she's played 4 seasons and they've lost and they've come short. And so to see her bounce back and to see this team, a really together team in the fact of what they do together, it's amazing to see them not only beat South Carolina, but to blow them out is very impressive at the biggest stage.
Like you said, the teamwork was crazy in this game. They had 18 assists and 3 players with double-digit points. It wasn't one person that just went off. It wasn't, it was a team effort. Everybody was doing what they were supposed to do, and it obviously worked out for them.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I mean, South Carolina's been the #1 team over the last couple of years, but they've also had a whole run the entire tournament. They beat 3 of the #1 teams, USC, UCLA, and now South Carolina. So, I mean, if you beat the top 2 teams, you deserve to be in that game, and they just played great. Team win, 3 girls getting over 10 points. I mean, just kind of dominance throughout the entire tournament from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did not see this coming because UConn was a 2 seed. They're the only 2 seed out of in the Final Four. All the rest were 1 seeds, but we know UConn's been the standard of women's basketball for a long time. Gino Auriemma, he's been there 40 years. This is his 12th championship, but I think this one really meant a lot to this program just because they haven't won one since 2016, and that's when they actually four-peated. Won 4 years in a row, and then to win one now for the first time in 10 years with Paige Beckers, her 5th year, and she's just battled through so much in her career, lost in the title game to South Carolina in 2022, couldn't even play in 2023 because of injury, just to come back her last year of college basketball and win the national championship. That's just awesome for them. And like you said, Tay, like Dawn Staley in South Carolina, I think we just all expect them to win because of how well they've played recently. Like just in previous years, they've won 2 out of the last 3 national championships. So they're not going anywhere. They're probably going to end up being that powerhouse like UConn has been with Dawn Staley at the helm. But UConn showed that their program's not going anywhere yet. They're still a dynasty, and they're still just the best program in women's college basketball.
Yeah, I do want to touch on that real quickly. They just got to transfer the #1 scoring player in the women's basketball from Florida State. So
really?
She just transferred to South Carolina. So to your
they're
point,
not
they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They'll be back.
They got the best ad ever with Under Armour. I'm just noting that.
Oh, the Don't Doubt Them.
They have the.
Yeah.
I rock with Dawn Staley.
Yeah.
That's a player's coach for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And especially like going back to showing that they can win, being #2. Like when it comes to women's basketball, there's really no upsets. It's usually the ranking is the ranking, and the #1's going to win the #1. So I was really excited to see not necessarily an underdog, but somebody that everybody was pretty surprised to see, especially with the dominance that was had. So I thought it was a good game overall, and I think it was a good season for them. So yeah, for sure, UConn wins the NCAA Women's Tournament. When we get back, we'll be talking about some winners again. Ole Miss baseball. We'll be back.
The dynamic freshman is starting to make his impact.
With the shot clock down to 1.
That 3-ball drops for Jamin Brakefield.
Fagan from the corner with a triple. Burrell for 3, and that's a big response. 3-ball, yes. Miss shooting lights out of the pavilion.
Ed, give him one more.
Wow. Alley. Ooh. Well, you can't teach that.
should give Ole Miss a boost.
NewsWatch is a student-run newscast that goes live every week, Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock.
NewsWatch is more than just a college team. It is an immersive learning experience. You learn certain skills that help you in your future journalism career.
Rebelwatch is just a cool experience because I want to do something in the sports world. So just to get the chance to do that on a platform like this, it's just a great opportunity.
We are the only live station in the Oxford-Lafayette area, with Tupelo being the closest. We cover all local news.
Welcome back. We're now going to be talking about Ole Miss baseball. They are hot, continuing to be hot. Obviously, we got that Kentucky series win. We dominated Memphis. We dominated Alcorn State. I think this is putting us into a great spirit and a great confidence boost for, dare I say it, probably the biggest series of this season, which is obviously number 5 Tennessee hosting. We are hosting Tennessee. I'm a little nervous, but let's first talk about the Kentucky series. Obviously, we got the loss win-win. I thought it was a good series in Lexington. You know, it's always great to win a series when you're not at home. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was a great series. How are y'all feeling about that?
Oh, I was super pleased with our performance against Kentucky, especially just the resilience that we showed in that series. All 3 games in the series entered the 9th inning tied. First game, we entered the 9th inning tied, and that was just awesome to be in that spot because we were down 4-0 because Kentucky had one big inning. We kind of had a blow-up inning, allowed them to score 4 runs, battled all the way back to tie it at 4-4, but unfortunately Kentucky walked us off. And then we just responded in the next 2 games, entering the 9th inning, the second game tied. Top of the 9th inning, Campbell Smithwick had a huge 2-run home run to take the lead 3-1.
Great performances.
Yeah, and that was just such a big home run he had. He's been playing great recently, you know, the hometown kid. So awesome that he had a big moment like that to force the rubber match. And then in that game, it just went kind of back and forth at the beginning, very low scoring, entering the top of the 9th again, still tied. It ended up going to the 11th inning, and we took the lead 4-3. So we could have won it with 3 outs. They got a hit with a man on second and third. We thought that Kentucky was going to walk it off, win the series. Mitchell Sanford throws a strike to home plate, get him out the plate. The game keeps going. Then Luke Hill hits a big home run in the top of the 12th inning, close it out the bottom. It was just such an impressive game, a game that in a lot of years I've been an Ole Miss fan, we usually lose those close games like that. So it's just awesome to win a big Game 3 like that in the SEC against a solid Kentucky team that'll make the tournament. And then on Tuesday, got a solid win against Memphis, 10-0, run roll in 7 innings. You can't ask for much better than that. And then on Wednesday, we just absolutely destroyed Alcorn State. So just a big week that we needed going into an absolutely massive Tennessee series.
For sure. And I think this is going to end up being good in our favor. Tennessee just lost this past weekend to Texas A&M, series loss at home. During those 2 games, they gave up 26 runs and 11 home runs. That is not good. And I don't know. I don't think that they're going to come in too excited or too confident. Obviously, they are such a great team, but we've obviously shown that we can be that good too. So I think we're going to get the series win, especially that it's at home. How are y'all feeling?
I feel good. First, though, I don't care what the scores say. I don't care about none of that. These midweek games against teams like Memphis and Alcorn State are preparing us for these big games and the ability to close out these close games because these are the grittiest teams in Lafayette County, if we're being honest here. I know sometimes the scoreboard doesn't reflect that, but it's forcing this team to be uncomfortable. And once again, I credit that as to why these teams or why we're able to pull out these close games. With that being said, going into Tennessee, I think we have it. I think we're trending up at the right time, 6th in the nation, if I believe so. Yeah. all on pitching. And I think Hunter Elliott starts to tone with that in his first game. And if we don't win this first game, I know we're going to bounce back in the second game because we're at home. So I feel good going into Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree. Those close games are the ones that we need. We go in 1-1 against Kentucky, and that third game is what we need. We need those clutch games and those clutch players, like you said, Luke Hill, top 12, absolute moonshot to right.
Yep.
Those are the games. You need those clutch because, again, baseball's not the most team sport oriented, but going into Tennessee, they are good. They're top 3 in ERA, WHIP, and RBIs in the nation. So it's definitely going to be a test, but I think get it started with Hunter Elliott. Hunter Elliott, get it going that first game. We need a good performance out of him. And even Maddox, if he's going to pitch our second day, which he has tended to be doing on these home stands, I think it looks good. I think we definitely need to get on top early because we have seen Tennessee in some games, they do get mashed and they do like to draw these games out, get up big. So I think we need to jump on it early and get to their starters so they can get some of these pen rotations going. Yeah.
For sure. Swayze Field is sold out for the Tennessee series. Make sure you show up, show out. When we get back, we're going to move back to March Madness, talk about our favorite games of the tournament. We will be back.
Going to be a hot one out there for move-in weekend, Ole Miss. Good luck this year, Red.
You did it. You're home. I can't wait for you to discover the true meaning of Hotty Toddy. It's a cheer that connects us all to the red and blue. It's the moment that begins when you step on campus and continues long after you turn your tassel. I can't wait for you to discover your legacy and make the world a better place. Are you ready?
Hi, my name is Lars Roberts. I'm the director of the Student Media Center on the Ole Miss campus. We have a lot of vintage Ole Miss yearbooks available for you. If you're missing a yearbook from whenever you were a student on this great campus, or you know someone who was an alum, go to the Ole Miss Marketplace website and order a yearbook that you can either pick up at the Student Media Center or have delivered directly to you. If you need a yearbook from 2008 or 1988, we have it for you. Books are either $25 or $35 depending on the year that you want. Go to this link, choose your book, choose whether or not you want to have it delivered, and it'll be in your mailbox in a matter of days.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused. A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Welcome back. We're now going to take it back to March Madness, talk about our favorite games of the tournament. Overall, I thought it was a great tournament. Some people, like we said last week, were upset that it was, the Final Four was all the #1 teams, but I enjoyed that. I thought it was, it's the best teams, obviously, #1 teams. I thought it was a great tournament. I want to say, I think my favorite game that I watched, probably biased, Ole Miss, North Carolina, just because we obviously we're nervous coming into that game, first round of the tournament. Obviously, we have no idea how this is going to go. We talked about how North Carolina is known for being March Madness legends. It's definitely one of those where we are very nervous, but we looked near perfect in that entire game. The three-pointers were crazy. Dre Davis, Sean Badula, all of them. It was just perfect. But if we're not going to pick an Ole Miss game, I would have to go Arkansas, Texas Tech. Yeah, obviously everyone is going to pick that game. Yeah. Texas Tech just, pretty much sealed the deal, and Calipari went home sad, and I always enjoy that as a Memphis native. But, what about y'all?
No, I was going to say I agree with that. Texas Tech, Arkansas game was a great game, back and forth a lot. But again, the national championship I also really liked, just because there's so many nerves, but it's also a great game. There's so much intensity. They kept swatting the ball. They kept making these runs. They kept flying all over the court.
Well, their defenses are two of the best defense teams. So it was scrappy.
It was super scrappy. You didn't know what was going to happen. It wasn't your stereotypical basketball game. A lot of running back and forth, a lot of screens. Saw Clayton obviously trying to get off the screens and shoot from deep. But there's a lot going on in the game, and that's what I like. A lot of chaos ensuing. So I think that game was really fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Walker?
I would have to say that the best game of the whole tournament was Houston versus Duke. That game was one of the best games I've ever watched. It was one of the greatest comebacks in college basketball history. I mean, to be down 6 with 30 seconds left in a Final Four game, and then to find a way to come back and win by 3 in regulation, that was super impressive, especially against a Duke team that so many people thought were going to win the championship with Flag. They thought they were just destined to win the tournament this year, especially with all the chalk that happened in the tournament. Like, everyone just thought surely Duke would win. But if I had to say my 2 favorite games of the tournament, I would just have to say Ole Miss versus North Carolina and Ole Miss versus Iowa State. You know, just for Ole Miss to make the tournament for the first time since 2019 and to just have this run to the Sweet 16 where they hadn't been since 2001, that was just awesome to see, especially for me who's grown up an Ole Miss fan forever. That was like almost a dream come true to see us make it that far. And I do want to say I think it's ridiculous that in the final AP poll we're ranked 18. Yeah, especially when we went to the Sweet 16 and the team ranked 17 is Iowa State, who we literally beat in the NCAA tournament to end their season.
That we beat them.
Yeah.
Like, it was just
so dumb. It doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever.
Who was number 1? Obviously Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
Speaking of Florida, my favorite game was UConn Florida. I think that's seeing kind of Dan Hurley coach for his job. In a sense, a lot of players thinking about hitting the portal. Seeing him kind of almost beat that Florida team, that was my first time really getting to see and getting to know Walter Clayton as well. So, like, that was a really good game in my opinion. And I think if UConn pulls that game out, we see madness across the tournament because Florida obviously isn't able to go on that run. So that's definitely probably one of my favorite games. I got to go with that one.
Yeah, and talking about, being number 18, how are y'all feeling we're going to bounce back next season when it comes to Ole Miss? Because obviously everyone knows it. Our whole starting lineup besides Malik is basically gone. I don't really know how it's going to look next year, but I'm not going to lie, I don't know how good it's going to be.
Yeah.
Something going on in the recruiting building because it's like we're missing out on a lot of sound transfers right now. And I trust Coach Beard in the fact of being able to get gems like he did this past year, but you don't want to have to do that after you just went to the Sweet 16. It should be a lot easier to get some of these big-name guys. But we just got the freshman from LSU, which is a good start, but we got to get some guards and bigger guards at that. Yeah. So I think this coaching staff and this recruiting staff is really going to have to get gritty because we got to get taller guards, and we got to get another guard who can score the ball. Maybe not like Padula, but we have to get somebody who can score the basketball that plays.
I also hope we don't turn out to be a team where it goes, it's a team of portal people. Okay, then they all leave. It's a team of portal people next year. We all leave. Memphis is like that in their men's basketball. Yeah. It's never worked. They're trying so hard. It's not working. They obviously lost in the first round. I really, really hope that we're able to find guys who want to stay. Obviously, signing the freshmen, probably a good sign that we're not going to be that team. But I really hope they don't try to be like that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Campbell. But I feel like a lot of that reason is just because last year we got so many seniors in the portal that none of them have eligibility left. Like, it was still a great team. A lot of them, if they probably had more eligibility, would stay. So I'm hoping Beard will get some transfer this year, maybe some sophomores or some juniors, some guys that can come back who they can build on, just like Walter Clayton. Like, he's been at Florida for 2 years. Just to kind of have that momentum like that, those are guys that can go and win a national championship. But I will say, I am a little worried about Ole Miss right now, just only getting one transfer, especially seeing all these other schools get all these guys. But I trust Beard. I think he'll get some solid transfers, especially because we're going to need him just to fill up our team, only having Malik Dia coming back and Klafke and some other freshmen. So I think we will find the right pieces, hopefully, and we should have a solid team next year.
Yeah, I like what Tay just said. He talked about the gems. Like, yes, it's good to have like those guys that aren't super nationally looked at and they turn out to be great players. And we don't have to, like football did, go out and get these Louis Vuitton players, the best players. I just think it's too early to tell. I mean, the portal's been open, yes, a little bit, and we haven't gone and got out some of those guys that we could have grabbed earlier. But I still think it's super open. I still think we have time to develop. It just ended 2, 3, 4 days. Yeah. 3, 4 days ago. I mean,
we're overthinking.
There's plenty of time.
We're overthinking it. We're going to be all right. We're going to develop. And like Walker said, we need some. We'll be all right. Trust. We'll be all right. We need some younger guys to kind of develop and get this team.
I mean, every guy we targeted did not come here. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, bro. But
I mean,
Pop Isaac's in the.
Yeah.
We need a guard.
We don't want them.
Actually, bro, I'll play guard.
Yeah, Taye's going to go in, guys. Bashir, do you hear that? Well, unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this week. Again, I'm your host, Campbell Holmes. Alongside me, Sawyer Rebelwatch, Taye Coleman, and Walker Farmer. Please tune in next week, and good night, everybody.